Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer. Many of you will be familiar with these names, even though they have not personally affected your life. Or maybe they have. Maybe they've affected your life personally because they made you know what fear was. What did they all have in common? Well, the lack of empathy and consideration for other human beings. They could slice, chop, mutilate, and even eat other people. Hopefully we all agree that this behavior is shocking and horrific, and most would not consider it sane. Criminals such as this have two demises. The first one being that they spend the rest of their life in prison where they can eat, read, sleep. They can work out at the gym. They can earn a degree. They can even make money by selling their art and their stories. It is also not a testament to rehabilitation for people who act like this, also reoffend. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, an estimated 68% of released prisoners were arrested again within 3 years. 70% within 6 years, and 83% within 9 years. 83% reoffended. So, is prison rehabilitation? Another option is death by lethal injection, but believe it or not, deathpenaltyinfo.org actually states that it is far more expensive than a system utilizing life without parole sentences as an alternative punishment. This is due to longer trials. They need lawyers, and usually they're public defenders, which we pay for, and they also need experts on both sides. And then in the end, the jury most often will rarely favor with the option of execution. According to recent statistics in the United States, Louisiana spent $7.7 million on death penalty defense, but yet they have not had an execution in 13 years. What if I told you there was another option? Deep brain stimulation. Leading technological scientists are now creating small brain chips that are placed beneath the cranium. Deep brain stimulations have electrodes placed on the areas of the brain that are connected to a pulse generator that sends electrical pulses to the brain, which alters brain activity. As a researcher in bioethics, Frederick Gilbert relayed that more than 100,000 patients worldwide are treated with invasive brain technologies such as deep brain stimulation. And that was in 2015, almost 10 years ago. They are helping people who have Parkinson's disease, not shake, and they're helping people who they need to rehabilitate limb paralysis. This means that people who could not use their arms or their legs now miraculously are able to actually use them and move them again. Most interesting for me is the treatment of psychiatric disorders such as anorexia or depression and compulsive symptoms. Now, you might be asking me why psychopathic individuals should get these implants. Well, Germany did other things. According to forensic psychiatry professor from the Institute of London, John Gunn, the study was conducted following 35 sex offenders whom Germans surgically castrated. However, 11 of them were still able to engage in sexual activity, so it appears that the myth that the testes or testosterone are not really to blame for these impulses. It's the brain. The Journal of Psychiatry and Neuroscience, Johannes Foos, MD, and his associates explained that from 1962 to the late 1970s, a considerable number of people in Germany received a stereotaxic brain lesions to treat paraphilic sexual desires. So these patients expressed behavior that involved unusual and especially socially unacceptable sexual practices such as sadism or pedophilia. They claim that 75 people, 74 men and 1 woman, were documented to have undergone this surgery, which must be very similar to a modern day lobotomy, but with great success. This skyrocketed the topic to top politicians, and then the science was profoundly criticized and finally abandoned. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I know many of you might be wondering about autonomy right now, but what is the freedom from external control when you can't control yourself? Should they really be able to govern themselves? I mean, it seems this right should be taken away when they have taken away the lives of others. Repeatedly. There is one big threat for these brain chips, which is technically termed brain hacking or brain jacking, according to Jonathan Pugh and his researchers. They've termed it. They claim that the cybersecurity would have to be at the forefront in developing these new systems so that they could never be accessed by a third party who hacks into their system. And I agree. But let me finish by saying the idea is not to control individuals. It is to change their feelings, the thoughts, the impulses that make them carry out these heinous events. This is an option that has never been before possible. And there is hope that changing a human brain can change their personality just enough to respect the life of another human being. A human life that could be yours.